I'm investigating a homicide, a murder.
Whoa!
I just found my sister in her house, and she's dead.
On the morning.
Crime Tracker.
The early hours of January 25, 2018, law enforcement officers in Sumter County, Florida, were dispatched following a call about an unresponsive individual inside a residence along County Road 625. The woman was identified as Melody Victoria Bennett. Her body was discovered by her brother, just one day after she would have turned 33. Later that same morning, 16-year-old Tyler Hearse noticed several police vehicles lined along County Road 625 as he boarded his school bus. When classes began, his teacher observed that Tyler appeared distracted and unable to focus, something that, at the time, did not seem unusual.
So, you're a teacher here at the school?
Yes, he was almost always goofing around, talking to other people while I was instructing.
Tyler Hearse grew up within the foster care system and had long struggled to regulate his emotions. On Monday, January 22, he asked to visit the school nurse. At the time, there was a visible cut on his left hand, along with several smaller scratches that were hard to ignore.
He was at my desk asking me for a Band-Aid. And I said, for what? And he showed me his hand, and it was at least twice the size of what it normally was.
Did they look fresh, like newer injuries, or
They were within
a couple
a couple days.
When his teacher asked what had happened, Hirsch refused to explain.
I asked him what happened, and he said it's personal.
On Tuesday, January 23, Hirsch stayed home from school, reporting that he was ill. Later that night, Sumter County deputies searched his bedroom for drugs. The call had come from his foster father, who reported that Hirsch had been smoking marijuana and had been sneaking out through his bedroom window after dark. The search itself turned up nothing illegal. However, officers did discover that Hirsch had been hiding a second cell phone and had been keeping secrets about where he had been going. Then, just before school on the morning of January 25, Hirsch confided in his bus driver about another issue he had been struggling with.
He gets on Friday morning. We notice there's two deputies sitting down the road a little bit. As we're going by, he tells us that his neighbor had been murdered.
He told the bus driver that his neighbor, Melody Victoria Bennett, had been stabbed and killed. During the initial canvass of the neighborhood, investigators later spoke with Tyler Hearse. He acknowledged knowing Bennett, describing her as both a mentor and a close family friend, but stated that he had no information about what led to her death.
She felt like she had a connection with you, you know what I mean? I don't know if it was through trying to mentor, or maybe it was the art, or just being helpful around the house or whatnot.
We had some stuff in common. We both love drawing. Yeah. I guess I have, through what the stuff I've been through, I guess I would say I interest people.
Especially ones with big hearts to try to.
The stretch of County Road 625 is rural and heavily wooded, with only a handful of homes where neighbors are familiar with one another. According to police reports, Bennett's house could not be seen from the roadway, which led investigators to move away from the idea of a random break-in. Instead, authorities believed the person responsible was likely someone she knew.
How would you describe our relationship? Good, not great. She helped you with art, or you had something with art or something?
Did I show you my pictures?
Show it to them guys, and look at me.
Yeah, I'm actually a drawer. She's a really, really good, her and her dad are really good drawers. I wanted to have her help me. Like she would teach me some stuff.
Melody Bennett was a close friend of Hearst's foster family. Beyond that connection, she also spent time alone with 16-year-old Hearst, serving as a mentor to him, particularly in art. When Bennett's relatives spoke with investigators, they described Hearst in entirely positive terms.
Good looking, bro. A lot of people do. A lot of people love you. I talked to her family all yesterday. And that's all they talked about. They said they get along great with the neighbors. They said your parents' names. They said she got along great with Tyler. She liked to mentor him. She always said they had a connection or something. What kind of stuff did she draw?
Like faces. She would cut up CDs and then put them and like to make something out of it. Like,
What did she do with the art?
usually outside, like sitting outside.
The carport or
Carports. I mean, the times I've seen her like do art stuff on the carport. I don't know if she sits in the house and draws or whatever.
And I think you told me yesterday that you'd never been inside the house. Have your parents been inside the house? Okay, but you never went in there.
I went like, not in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know how there's a back door, and then there's that area where you go to the back door. Like I've been in there.
According to Bennett's family, the back door of her home was routinely left unlocked, a detail that would likely only be known by someone familiar with the house. When her brother arrived on the day he found her, that back door was still unsecured. Investigators also noted that the condition and placement of her clothing and underwear suggested Bennett had been sexually assaulted.
It made you sad.
About her one most of the crime.
Your mom and dad, they talking about it much?
Not really. My mom, she said something about it today. She was like, I hope they catch the person who did that.
Yeah. What about you? You hope we catch the person who did it?
Yeah.
Do you know what happened?
What happened?
I was asking if you knew.
But investigators would soon realize that Hirsch was withholding information. What he shared with the bus driver on the morning Bennett was found would later prove to be accurate.
The exact words that we heard him say was that his neighbor had been murdered and that she had been stabbed to death.
And about what time was that on Friday?
After 5:40 in the morning.
Authorities accepted the bus driver's account, but one detail didn't fit. When Hirsch boarded the bus, it was far too early in the investigation for any information about the crime, let alone the cause of Bennett's death, to have been made public.
Days.
Anything else that sticks in your mind about that?
No, sir.
Detectives determined that Hirsch either had a connection to the crime or possessed knowledge about Bennett's death that only someone close to the situation could have. However, that alone did not automatically make him a suspect.
I'm gonna lie to you, I don't know if y'all heard the report about it or not, but my mom they had to have the cops come because I was smoking weed.
Yeah, I heard that story. Yeah, what you doing it for?
And I do like, when I go through stuff, I smoke.
What stuff you been going through to make you want to smoke?
Just be thinking about my family and stuff.
When officers interviewed Hirsch's foster parents, they could not identify any reason for him to fear them or anyone else. However, they did express concern over his patterns of deception and disobedience.
You seem like a great kid, but my kids were the same way. His kids are the same way, but they break a rule. It's like, dang, did I fail? I mean, how did I go wrong? You do feel that a little bit, but it's all out of love, because all we want to do is make you better.
Hirsch's foster parents could tell that something was troubling him, but they didn't know what. They had no idea that just a few yards away, inside a nearby home, their quiet and kind neighbor lay dead in her own bed. Now, detectives turned their attention to Hirsch's timeline, and to the cut on his hand, the one he had told his teacher was personal.
I think you got sick or something this week and you stayed home a day?
Mm-hmm. Tuesday, and then I woke up around 2, and mom came in. She was like, Grandma still needs that fence, needs to finish the fence.
Mm-hmm.
And she made me feeling up to it. So around like 2:30, I ate something, and then I went over to Grandma's, and she went and showed me what I needed to do, so I did it. You can go out there and look, it's right over where the hay and stuff's at.
The fence was topped with barbed wire. Hirsch told investigators that he hadn't brought the proper tools and instead tried to handle it with his bare hands. According to him, that was how he sustained the injury.
I didn't bring my pliers or anything, so I used my hand and I twisted it, wrapped them around, twisted and connected them to make them longer so I didn't have to cut any more wire.
So you twisted your left hand?
Yeah.
You're really ambidextrous, or?
Yeah.
But your grandmother, the ball wire with grandma's, I thought you said that was like a week ago or something.
I think about a week ago, and she had remade me do it. It was like a stretch over like 3 days. Because I did it, and then she was like, oh, I'm gonna check it. And she was like, you didn't do it right. So Tuesday, I didn't go to school.
Right.
And around, like I said, 2:30, I went back out there. I just redid the whole thing.
Hirsch told investigators that he first worked on the fence on Sunday, the 21st, and returned to fix it on Tuesday, the same day he stayed home from school, when police later searched his room for drugs and paraphernalia.
When I was at your school, somebody said something about you had hurt your hand. You hurt your hand on Monday. The school complained about it. I see the nurse.
Oh yeah, I had asked for a Band-Aid. It wasn't even on this hand, it was on this one when I had the cut right here. I asked for the Band-Aid.
It was on your right hand?
Yeah.
How'd you cut that?
Just the same thing, barbed wire from the day before.
On Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was unusual that Hirsch refused to explain what had happened to his hand, but not entirely surprising. At school, he had developed a reputation for being troubled and dishonest.
For lack of a better term, he's very sneaky.
So he likes to lie?
Oh, trust me. He pretty much has it all together when you talk to him.
Okay.
Tyler stands about 6'3".
Uh-huh.
And he's solid weight, and he uses it to his advantage.
Also has a pretty violent temper.
Investigators couldn't help but question whether the injury truly came from his grandmother's barbed wire fence. Why was Hirsch keeping that information so tightly to himself?
Monday was a normal day then, right? What's a normal day like for you on a Monday?
Go to school.
What was your normal day this past Monday? Yeah, this past Monday.
Went to school, came home, went to grandma's house, worked on the fence.
Is that the same day you injured your hand on Monday? Or Sunday?
What?
You injured your hand Monday working on the fence? So it was Monday you worked on the fence, not Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you injured your hand Monday? Or was it the other day? The second time you fixed it?
Monday and Tuesday. I injured both of them. I got the scratches. Those are already healed and gone. And I got this on Tuesday, and then this one right here on Monday.
So what else did you do Monday? You went to school, come home, worked on the fence.
And I went home after I was doing the fence. Went to sleep.
The more investigators spoke with Tyler Hirsch, the more complicated his timeline became. In addition to multiple stab wounds, Bennett had suffered defensive injuries on her hands, a clear indication that she had struggled against her attacker. The medical examiner quickly concluded that her injuries were the result of homicidal violence, not an accident. DNA analysis later confirmed that Bennett had been sexually assaulted prior to her death. With these findings, detectives became certain that if any part of this case was deeply personal, it was the attack on Melody Victoria Bennett's life.
There was a used condom that was in the garbage that they did more. Where'd that condom go?
Used condom?
In your garbage can.
A while ago I had this girl.
Who?
Look, my name is Darren Norris. I'm a detective at the Sheriff's Office, and this is my partner, Troy Hampton.
Yeah.
And I'm here to talk to you about Tyler.
Tyler.
Yeah.
Hirsch?
Yeah.
Okay.
I understand you guys are friends.
Not really.
I understand you dated Tyler.
No.
Okay. So here's where we're at. When's the last time that you saw him or talked to him?
2 weeks ago.
The girl told police that she and Hirsch had engaged in sexual activity, but it did not take place at his home. Instead, it occurred in a friend's car parked on her property. She explained that Hirsch attempted to use a condom but did so incorrectly, so they paused before he tried again with a second one.
Do you know what happened to those condoms?
They're in the car still, as far as I know.
Okay. So you never saw him move them?
No.
Okay.
It was dark.
However, detectives found a used condom in a trash can at Hirsch's home. For experienced investigators, the implications were immediately clear.
Well, I got a question for you. Here's the question. Where did that condom go that you took out of the garbage can?
It's in the garbage.
Yeah.
It's in my wallet.
You use condoms in your wallet?
Yeah. No, I didn't take the used condom. There's two.
Huh?
There's two.
There was two? There's two what?
There was two condoms. There's one in the garbage.
Well, there was a used condom in the garbage can. Where did that go?
In the garbage.
Because they saw it in the garbage can, and then all of a sudden it's not in the garbage can anymore, which means someone got it out of the garbage can. And along with that, when someone had a police over at their house looking for marijuana, he said, "Oh,
no, I still got it. It's in my wallet. If you want,
no, the used condom in the garbage can."
I never touched it again after I put it in the garbage can.
The relocated condom might have simply reflected a teenager trying to keep his sexual activity private from his parents, or it could have been Hirsch attempting to conceal something far more serious.
All we care about is the truth. Okay? And that's what we're asking these questions.
Yes.
I understand. We get to this point, and obviously we got your story, we got your timeline and everything that you said up to this point, right? And obviously there's some of those things in your story that just don't make sense. So it's up to you to help us understand these statements that just don't make any sense, right? Like for instance, what's got me kind of baffled is the whole condom deal. Okay, we know that you had one empty wrapper in your wallet. You threw one in the garbage. Okay, your parents have found that at one point, seen it there, and now it's gone. Okay, which means you did something with it because no one else did.
Most likely, when they didn't find it again, I tossed the trash around again.
Was that trash gone through? Yeah, I went through the trash. I opened every bag that they were in the trash cans, and I took out each piece individually, piece by piece, and put them at the bottom of an empty trash can. And then I would take that trash that I just put in there, and I would take that out piece by piece again and put it back into the bag.
When did you do this?
Last night.
Trash went out Tuesday.
But the condom was in there on Tuesday night after the trash had been picked up.
Detectives didn't need a used condom to obtain Hirsch's DNA, they simply requested a sample. While awaiting test results, another part of Tyler Hirsch's story raised red flags for investigators. Some messages he had sent to a friend in the days following Bennett's death suggested a contradiction. Hirsch repeatedly told investigators that his relationship with Bennett wasn't as close as others were portraying, yet he also admitted to his friend that her death had affected him deeply. When police conducted a search of his room after the initial interview, Hirsch appeared visibly stressed.
Last night I threw up.
You threw up last night?
Mm-hmm. After dinner. And I don't know if I'm coming down or something.
You still feel ill?
I'm living a little bit. I mean, I'm alright right now.
Detectives knew that the search of Hirsch's bedroom was less revealing than what they might uncover at Bennett's home. If Hirsch had any reason to worry, it was what officers would find there that truly mattered.
You never been inside her house at all? So if there's fingerprints or DNA inside her house, what would you say if there was?
What did I say again? I wouldn't know why. I don't think it would be no.
So before we were talking about how you smoke marijuana to take the edge off, you said because you get angry, sometimes sad. You obviously has a history of violence. What kind of anger issues would you say you have? Like what kind of, what makes you mad? Yeah, what makes you mad? What gets you to that point?
I don't want to be yelled at, or I feel like treated unfairly.
Okay. I'm just going to ask you the question, did you ever have sex?
Just a few minutes later, Hirsch retracted that statement.
I was out in the back, smoking and she had caught me. And she told me, I was like, please don't tell my parents, please don't tell my parents. And then she was like, what will you do for me? I was like, anything, I'll do anything. So don't tell them. And that's what she did. That's what she wanted me to do.
Wanted you to what?
Do it with you.
So you had sex with him?
This was long time ago.
How old were you?
15.
Here's statement appeared to be the only account of the alleged sexual encounter with Bennett. However, forensic evidence told a different story. Analysis confirmed that Tyler Hirsch's DNA matched samples recovered from Bennett's clothing and underwear, the garments she was wearing at the time of her death. With this, investigators now had the physical evidence needed to directly connect Hirsch to the crime.
Why do you seem so sad right now?
I'm just thinking about it. It's one of the things that I never really thought I was ever say out loud.
I just, right now, in my heart of hearts, I know that there's something else you want to tell us. I know you want to get other things off your chest. I know it's even that you want to let it go.
Over the following year, investigators worked to strengthen their case. The lengthy passage of time without an arrest might have suggested the investigation had stalled, but nothing could have been further from the truth. In January 2019, Tyler Hirsch sat down with detectives for one final interview.
Do you remember the day after the body was found? The day after her body was found by us and we got called. Remember seeing all the cops out there? You went to school the next day. You rode the bus. And you got a long distance to travel, so you got to get on the bus kind of early. There's a bus driver and there's an aide on the bus. You remember? And when you got on the bus, they asked you what all the noise was about. Why is the
Investigators methodically built their case. Although the absence of an arrest might have created the impression that the investigation had stalled, the truth was very different. Finally, in January 2019, Tyler Hirsch agreed to one last interview with detectives.
We did it. I left. And went home and went to sleep. And then the next morning, I had all my clothes on. Like the next morning, I woke up and I'm not where I was when I went to sleep. Because before I went to sleep, then I smoked. And then after that, I don't know what happened.
Did you go back to her house? Was she dead when you left her house?
Yes, sir.
She was not? Tyler, look at me. Look at me, son. Okay.
What do you another one of those?
Will he be here today?
We're done questioning.
I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
The investigation had finally concluded, but for 17-year-old Tyler Hirsch, a different kind of sentence was about to begin. On January 17, 2019, Hirsch was arrested on charges of homicide, sexual assault with a weapon, and armed burglary.
Come on, man. Don't mess with that boat. Hey, put your hand out so we can get you over here, Bubba. All right?
Put this behind your back.
Got the key.
Stick this other one behind your back. Hold this. Got his head? Got his head? You got him?
Yeah.
Hold still so I don't want to
pinch you with the cuff.
Hold still.
Tyler here spent the following years behind bars, awaiting trial. In January 2025, 7 years after the murder of Melody Victoria Bennett, officers found the now 24-year-old Hearst crying on the floor of his jail cell. His knees were drawn to his chest, his neck showing a grayish-blue hue. Beside him lay a bedsheet fashioned into a noose and a piece of paper with writing on it. Hearst told the officer that he was exhausted and no longer wanted to live. Haunted by the memory of the crime he had committed, he accepted an open plea deal and was sentenced to life in the Florida Department of Corrections. 1 life was taken, 2 families were left shattered, and the effects of this tragedy would linger forever.
Crime Tracker.